Hi there. I've noticed recently a lot of people going online talking about, getting prepared and stuff like that. But what I've noticed is everyone who does it is very experienced, I guess you could say. So they've been doing it for like 4, 5, 6 years. I've been prepping seriously for about a year now. Bit less. I've only had the capacity to start doing it really prepping within the past 2 or 3 months though. So I'm very new to this, and basically what I want to do is I want this to be a kind of experience. So I learn with you if you're new, and if you're not new, so if you've been doing this for a while, then giving feedback and helping us learn too. So the first thing I want to talk about on this is the first thing I think a lot of people do. I know it's the first thing I did, and that is create a bug out bag. So the first thing I did was I created my bug out bag. I just grabbed a backpack, put a week's worth of food in there, a knife, and I was off. And that was my first experience. That was about a year ago. So then I discovered the online community, started watching videos and learning, and I started expanding my bag. So I would like to run you through what I did. So when I first started, like I said, I had a backpack. I've since changed that backpack to one that's more ergonomic, one that's easier to carry, less strain on my body. But for your very first backpack, pick something that you can afford, because most people I find when they're first starting, they're short on funds. So, step 1, backpack. I'll show you mine eventually. Step 2 is fire. You need fire keeps you warm, lets you process water, lets you cook food. Very important. So fire. If you're first starting, when I first started, I had stormproof matches and some lighters. So once you get onto it, once you get like farther into it, it'll be a additional onto it. But for just starting, it's good enough to have some lighters, stormproof matches, etc. From there, you need water purification. Now, when I first started out, what that meant was chlorine tablets, okay? Because when I first started, my bug out location was my mother's place. She lives about 3.5 hour drive. So I was prepared, if I needed to be able to walk that. So that's really what I would try to do. For your first bug out bag, make it simple, basic. Pick a location that's not too far, that you can get to, just in the case of an emergency, but it would be outside of the region. Okay, so that's where we're going to start out with this pack. You're also going to need a knife of some sort, full tang, for just basic processing materials, stuff like that. So whether it be shaving some wood to be able to start fires easier, or the like that, then that's what you want to go for. You're also going to want cordage. Cordage is useful for everything. It's probably the most versatile thing in my pack. You can use it to build shelters or stuff like that, hang stuff. Cordage is always useful, and you're always going to need it. I have 200 feet in my backpack. You don't need to start with that much. You don't need to start with top of the line paracord and all that, contrary to what people will tell you. I also have a water bottle. Now, when I first started, I didn't have an aluminum one. I just had a plastic one. Now, for your first one, if you have means of processing water that's not boiling, that's fine. But an aluminum one is always going to be better because you can boil water in it. And so if it's just you and your water bottle, you can still process water. In a plastic one, you can't do that. So after that, after the water bottle, it depends on your climate, but you're gonna want clothes. So for me, what that meant is I need warm clothes. I live in Ottawa right now. So every day in the winter, it's at least -5 to -10 Celsius. At least. We get colder spells where it'll be -20s down to -40 something was the coldest we had it this year. And so you need something. You're gonna die out there. So what that entails for me is Under Armour, like underwear, basically made of wool. Same with socks that are made of wool, and a face mask, a toque. These are the basics. Now, once you get that, obviously, I don't expect you to be able to carry around jackets and whatnot, but your most important tool when trying to stay warm is layering, okay? I would choose 20 thin layers over 1 thick layer, because layering is much, much more effective. Each layer is something else that'll stop the cold. And the biggest thing is wind. Wind is brutal. Wind is what will kill you, because wind is what makes it very cold. It doesn't matter how many layers you're wearing. If you do not have something to break that wind, you're screwed. It goes straight through everything. So you need an external layer that will stop the wind. My best recommendation to you would be finding a jacket that you enjoy with space, and that's what you wear around. And if need be, then you can take it off and throw on more layers from your bug out bag. These are just everyday things that I do. So I have my thicker jacket, which I wear, and if it starts getting colder, because I always bring my bug out bag with me everywhere, because it also serves as a get home bag if I need, for now at least. So what I do is I will throw on a couple layers from in there. Food, it depends how far you're going. If you're going within a day or two's walk, food is, in my opinion, optional, because you can go 30 days without food, or 3 weeks without food. 30 days is kind of pushing it. Depends on how big you are. But a normal person, 3 weeks without food and 3 days without water. So if you're within a couple days walk, don't worry about food, unless because after a couple days, your body will start using your stored body fat as calories. If you're going a longer way, like for me, it's about a 5-day walk to my bug out location now, and It's a bit far, but it's what I have to work with. So rather than trying to carry all of your food on you, setting up caches if you can afford it. It doesn't need to be anything too elaborate, just a sealed barrel that you can buy online for 20 bucks or less. I'm not sure on the exact price. This is something I plan to do. Okay, this is something I'm working towards. And so I'm working towards that. So if you want to set up caches along the way, that's one way to do it, so that you're not exerting yourself trying to carry a bunch of food around. Because if you do that, you're going to tire out quickly. If you tire out quickly, it means you walk less, which means it takes longer to get to your bug out location, which puts you in more danger. In my opinion, your bug out bag should be, I want to get to my location as fast as possible, so I am in the least amount of danger as possible. Something else that entails is my bug out route. You also need to plan out a route for your bug out location. So for me, that means I have a route that takes a bunch of back roads. And those back roads, I take that because the main highway in an event is going to be clogged up. So I have a couple of routes planned out, and I keep maps, local maps of the Ottawa area and the area where my bug out location is, and a map of Ontario in my bag, which is riding just behind me here. Oh, here comes the snow. So yeah, that's one thing. You need routes planned out, and you need maps. Maps are good because there aren't a GPS. They won't shut down if the grid ever goes down. Something else you need to consider, though, is if you have a map, you have to be able to navigate, which brings me to a compass. I have a compass. I know how to use it. If you don't, get a compass, learn how to use it. It's not that hard. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of videos out there which you can learn from. And you need to be able to navigate. If you can't navigate, then, you know. Another thing, too, is regularly practice traveling between your bug out location and your home. You need to be able to go through that, even if you don't have a map, right? If you do not have a map, you still need to be able to get there. So, right now, that's something else I'm in the process of doing. Holy shit. We got 40 centimeters of snow last night, and looking out here, it looks like we're going to be getting quite a bit. I can see maybe 20 meters in front of my car. So anyways, that's some basic overview of a bug out bag for me, for when you're first starting. If I missed anything, I'm going to be making more in-depth videos about this in the future, where I actually write it out first, and it'll